So today I'm going to show you how to make a personalized clothing item with the Cricut. I do have a pre-designed thing on my screen here, and I'm already in the Cricut design space, so I'm going to go ahead and start with this. I'm going to go ahead and click make it, and it will show it on a screen here. I'm going to go ahead and mirror my project, which you do for all iron-on designs. My design here is symmetrical, so it's not necessary, but it is more so for words, so just for the practice of it. I'm going to go ahead and hit continue, and it's going to pull up some information on the material I'm cutting, and it's going to ask me for the material, so I'm going to click everyday iron on, and then it's going to make sure that my tool is loaded and if my mat is loaded. So for the iron-on materials, you always place them, there's a shiny side and a matte side. So this is the shiny side, which is the cover, the sticky cover, and then this is the vinyl that will be attached to the shirt. So you always want to place it sticky side or glossy side down on the mat. I do already have it placed on the mat here, so I'm going to load it into my machine following the cues from the Cricut design space. And then once it recognizes that the mat is in place correctly, it's going to show me the little Cricut button to start cutting the design. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And it's going to start cutting. As it's cutting, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Cricut. They are a craft company. They sell different machines. They have the Maker, the Explorer, the Joy, and a couple different heat presses for iron materials. They are very popular, especially with the pandemic. A lot of people were stuck at home, so they wanted to do some crafting to make small businesses and make some money on the side. I got into this a few years ago just to do some crafts at home in my free time, and I enjoy doing that. So the sheet is now done cutting, so I'm going to remove it from my Cricut, and I'm going to go ahead and peel this off of the mat. And I'm going to set my mat aside. The next thing you want to do is cut out the design, leaving a little bit of an edge around it so that it has something to stick to the shirt or material you're ironing it onto. So I have a little square here. Next, I am going to use my tool here. It kind of looks like what a dentist has. It's called a weeding tool. I'm going to pick it up at the corner here, poke a hole through, and lift it away from the liner sheet. And as you can see, there's this glossy sheet left behind, and then the matte color peels off around the design. So I'm taking away the negative space that I'm not going to use for my design. And so here's part of it taken out already. So for the sake of time, I did already pre-cut another design, which is words. So this is how it would be cut with this glossy side facing down. So that's why you mirror the image so that the words are facing the correct direction when it's ironed on. So per the Cricut Heat Guide website tells you that it lets you plug in the machine you're using, the material you're ironing on, and the material you're using, so like the clothing. So I have already pre-selected the vinyl I'm using, the press that I'm using, and the shirt material that I'm using. Per those guides, my heat press is already heated to medium heat. I'm going to preheat the onesie that I have here on my Cricut heat press mat. You can also use a towel. I'm going to preheat it for 5 seconds, moving through the whole body of the onesie. And this just helps the material kind of heat up a little bit, help it stick a little easier. So now I'm going to place my design onto the onesie front, and I'm going to try and get it as centered as I can. And it has the liner on it as well, and that's how it helps stick to it ahead of time. I'm going to press this for 25 seconds, constantly moving my press. Cricut does have a few different sizes of presses. I do have a 9x10 press as well, but because of the size of the design and the onesie, it just makes it easier to use my mini press. It fits in the space a little easier, it's not as bulky. I'm just going to continue pressing here, probably about 10 more seconds. Constantly moving, distributing the heat throughout the design. Since it is a bigger design, you can also go a little longer. Usually doesn't cause an issue to go a little longer than the 25 seconds. Once that is done, you are going to go ahead and flip it over to the other side, and you are going to keep your press moving at the same temperature, and you're going to press the back side of it for 15 seconds. Alright, now that that is done, you can go ahead and flip it back over, and it will instruct you whether to remove it while the liner is still hot or whether it's cool to the touch or slightly warm. This one can be removed while it is still hot, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Gently pulling and also holding the shirt down at the same time helps kind of keep it attached, and in case it's not quite cool enough yet, it can keep it from pulling too much, so it's easier to press back down. So once that is removed, you can actually just go ahead and throw your liner away, and then there's your finished product.